Yeah, it was a weird week of ups and downs, but I mean, I guess technically it's every week, but this week there were times where, I don't know, like I felt like my nerves were more raw, where it was bugging me more than it should.
But the fact that I see those raw, exposed nerves, and you're still so nice to people.
I try to. I don't want to take it out on folks. I don't.
I want people to know when they're bothering me.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep patting down waiting. Comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics. Keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers. And now, here are Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
So, Dal, I know that you are busy right now, right this very second, booking Hellboy movie tickets.
I am, yes. Confirmation.
But I feel like you can multitask.
Yep.
The first thing we're going to start with on this episode of Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast on the Yak Channel Podcast Network here in Chicago, which, by the way, it gives me endless delight to have people do that back to me in the store.
Neat.
Yeah, I've had that happen recently, and two people joined in together to do it simultaneously.
Wow.
Which, you know, it's not a terribly long tagline.
No, I've done it before.
But it's also, but it's not, like, we didn't set out to have that be the tagline. It just kind of grew.
Yeah, like everything we've done. It started with a thing, and then we just kept doing a thing until it became a thing.
Yeah. But I wanted to say that the thing I wanted to start with, trying to roll it into an immediate segue, even though it wasn't necessary because we haven't really started anything this week. Last Thursday, in the store, something happened that has never happened in the 11 plus years we've been in business. It's 11 plus now.
Plus, yeah.
It's 11 plus. And this isn't a conversation starter. It's not a huge topic to have different viewpoints. It's just a thing that happened and I never thought, it's not like I never thought would happen. It's a thing I never considered.
Okay.
We had 0 cash transactions.
I saw that, yeah.
No cash. Every single transaction for the day was credit card.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a slow day. It was an okay Thursday. It was a B Thursday.
It's okay.
Assigning days letter grades, it was a B Thursday. But no cash. Is that even a thing you ever conceived of?
There's been slow days where the cash has been like under $100 for sure.
Yeah.
So I guess it was inevitable that sooner or later we would have a day where nobody paid cash, everybody paid credit card.
I mean, we never have a large cash day. That's why we're never worried about being robbed, because there's no cash.
Well, not that I'm not worried about, but it always is the most disappointing thing about getting robbed is there's no money here.
Yeah.
There's no cash.
Yeah, it's not like Boost Mobile that was basically cash only and would be held up at gunpoint.
Yeah.
There's nothing to take from us.
No.
No cash. It was so weird.
Yeah, that's unusual. Well, I guess not that unusual, but still surprising.
It just makes me wonder, is the change count the exact at the end of the day? Should be.
Huh?
Yeah, totally should be. Wow. Weird. Yeah, and it's just a thing that we didn't mention in last week's episode.
Yeah.
Another thing we didn't talk about last week, and I mentioned it to you earlier in the week about talking about it, and you said you didn't even know if it was worth it anymore.
Yeah. The short version, is this the Wizards Play Network?
Yes, it is.
So here's the short version. I'm a fan of the Transformers trading card game, and we've got some people who have been playing the Transformers trading card game with me on different days. And Wizards of the Coast, who's the manufacturer and designer of the Transformers trading card game, announced that with the upcoming third wave of cards, they'll be doing a launch day event that includes exclusive promo cards and then some new versions of old cards. And eventually they'll be doing organized play elements, which will have exclusive and limited edition cards for stores that run those events. So basically, we got people asking us, hey, are you going to do that? Because they want to participate. So it was a week-long thing of dealing with Wizards of the Coast to get us as a Wizards Play Network store. And I don't really want to go into every detail for that process, but the thing that's super weird about it is, like, I understand that Wizards of the Coast is a card game manufacturer, and they use the Wizards Play Network as a way to enhance their brand. Not just to sell more cards, but to sort of shape what the idea of Magic and Dungeons and Dragons looks like in a retail-facing environment. So it's completely within their rights to have very strict rules about what stores can and cannot participate in the Wizard Play Network. But it was just weird to me that a lot of the things that you need to do to be a Wizards Play Network store are incredibly difficult for stores that operate in a city like Chicago. It's very easy if you are just a straight-ahead game store. The ways that you have to conduct your business and the things that you have to make available for customers, it's very easy to do that if all you do is sell Magic cards and role-playing games and miniature games and all that sort of stuff. The things that people think about when they think about a game store are usually a lot of empty tables. You know, that's a game store thing. Places where people can just come in and play Warhammer or D&D or Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or any of those other games.
I was going to say I think of tables filled with giant cardboard castles and then people painting little miniatures.
Sure, which is definitely part of it. When we've seen pictures of game stores, that's usually what we see. Sometimes, you know, higher-end places, there's definitely stores on the West Coast that are more about kind of a higher-end version of that experience.
Actual wizard castles.
Yes. But things that are more, you know, you wouldn't just go there and play Magic cards for an afternoon. You would go there with a group of friends and you'd have, you know, custom cocktails and, you know, well-made appetizers, and you'd play different board games or card games. It would be more of like an experience sort of event rather than just...
You had me at custom cocktails and appetizers.
Sure. And there's definitely places that are doing that. And there's game stores that are leaning into more of like coffee shop sort of things where you'll get high-end coffee drinks and you'll get, you know, small bites and that sort of stuff. So it's not just 10 plastic folding tables where people can play Magic all day. It's again, a little bit higher end than that. But there's also, you know, the kind of combination comic shop, game shop that you'll see in some city stores and definitely a lot of suburban stores where it's kind of hard to do that thing where it's like, I am a full-service comic shop, but also here's a bunch of tables taking up floor space. It's a little easier in like a suburban store that might have 2,000 or 3,000 square feet to play with, but a city store that has like 1,100 to 2,000 square feet, it's really hard to do comic shop and game shop. You're usually having to do both of them kind of not super great. You just don't have the space to do either of them to the best of your abilities. You have to make these compromises. So it's weird to me that when we were talking to Wizards of the Coast about this, a lot of the things they want to do, it's like, look, we're trying to support your players and give them a place where they can play this game. The Transformers trading card game is not a super popular worldwide phenomenon. They've had 2 sets of cards out and like 3 decks. There are people who are very passionate about it, but even looking on the Transformers fan boards where there is a section for people to talk about the card game, it's a lot of people saying, none of the game shops near me carry this game or want to support it.
I'm sorry, is this Earth or is this Cybertron?
This is on Earth.
I think it would probably do better on Cybertron.
Probably, but I can't check.
Okay.
So on Earth, especially in the United States, there's these fans that are looking for a way to participate in this game and don't want to be left behind, not being able to participate in, like, you know, promotional events, organized play events. So it was weird to me to have Wizards of the Coast basically be like, no, you have to have seating for people all the time to come in and play card games all the time, when it's like, look, I got, you know, 9 people who are playing the Transformers card game and potentially more that would play it if we were an organized play event site. And I don't want to tell them no, because we have to have people playing Magic cards at any time of day.
Didn't you say that there are exclusive cards to get from a Wizard Play Network store?
Yeah, specifically for this, it's one of the first things they're doing for the Transformers card game is what's called a launch day event. They do it for Magic all the time. They do pre-release events and launch weekend events. But this is the first time I'm doing it for the Transformers card game, and what that means is that there is like a selection of exclusive cards, a promo card that you get. Wizards doesn't tell stores how to do it, but generally just for showing up. If you show up and participate in the event, here's a promo card, and the promo card they've already shown off it's a Battle Master card. It's one of the new types of cards they're going to have in Wave 3. This is a character that is not in the Wave 3 packs. You can only get that character card for showing up at this promo event.
Okay.
It's not a game-breaking card. It's definitely one that people who are collecting the cards will want to get because they are collecting them. But looking at it, the abilities it has, the way it plays, it's not like if you don't have this card, you are no longer competitive in the metagame.
Well, sure, but speaking to the collector aspect of it, didn't you say that there were specifically people that you'd read about, maybe not locally, but that it said, I can't get this card, I know I can't get it, I no longer want to collect this series.
Yeah. It's a thing that I tried to impress on Wizards of the Coast, and they don't care what I have to say. But the problem of doing these sort of events where you basically gate which stores can and cannot participate and which stores can and cannot support their players creates a kind of haves and have-nots thing where the stores that are have-nots and the players that are have-nots maybe feel like they are less engaged in the game now. They don't want to participate because they've basically been told they're not necessary and they're not required by Wizards of the Coast. The Wizards of the Coast
we don't need you.
Doesn't care about how you feel about this. And it's difficult specifically for Transformers because a lot of stores are not participating in this. The only store that I know of in the Chicagoland area that's even doing anything for the Transformers card game besides Challengers is Pastimes out in Niles. And Niles is like 15 miles away from Chicago, which maybe to people who live in the suburbs is like 15 miles, who cares? But if you live in Chicago, 15 miles might as well be Wisconsin.
Yep.
Like, no one's going that far out of the city for something like this. So it's one thing for Wizards to say, these are the kind of stores that we're participating when there are alternatives for the players in that location. But if we're not a Wizards Play Network store that can take care of the Transformers card game customers that we have, there's nowhere for them to go. There's no alternative. So we were desperate to kind of find a way to make that not a problem. Like, for the people who are participating in the Transformers card game at Challengers. So it was a lot of work, and eventually we found a way to make that happen. So we will be a Wizards Play Network store for the Transformers trading card game. Currently, that's it. Just the Transformers trading card game. We are not Friday Night Magic. We are not doing whatever D&D thing they have. It's just the Transformers trading card game. So we will be doing a public launch day event for Transformers trading card game War for Cybertron Siege 1. End of June. It's like the last weekend in June. I don't know exactly what day or what time, but we'll have it figured out by then.
Well, I just want to make sure you know that the last weekend of June is also when Anne Boleyn is playing in the House of Blues downtown.
Is that your way of saying you won't be participating in the launch party of that?
Seems like I won't be.
Trading card game War for Cybertron Siege 1?
Yeah, Anne Boleyn is, of course, one of my all-time favorite bands.
It's true.
They ceased after their last album, which came out the week I was in San Diego in 2014, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And they had just said, look, the music industry has changed. This is not a thing that we're happy doing anymore. So they just decided to, there was no fight. There's no animosity. Mm-hmm. They just stepped away. But this is hey, it's been 5 years. We missed touring. Let's do a quick little tour.
Sure.
And I've never seen them live before because the other times that I was aware of them being in Chicago, multiple times were opposite Challengers events.
Right.
So I could not
go. And it is this time, too.
Well, I'm putting my foot down.
Okay.
Putting my foot down. And I'll be fair, one of those times was a festival, and I don't like festivals.
Sure, I don't either.
So this is literally a bucket list band.
Nice.
I never thought I would see live, and it's not over yet. I haven't gotten tickets. It's tomorrow morning. Tickets go on sale, but I'm sure.
I think you'll be able to get them.
Yeah, even if it sells out, which I doubt that it does. I mean,
there's other
immediately.
avenues.
There's other avenues.
Sure.
So I'm not that worried. But yeah, sorry, Dal. Otherwise, I'd be there for you.
I know.
I would be right there.
Yeah, I know. You've got that Wheeljack Prowl RC deck you've been tuning up, desperate to play.
Have you been looking at my deck?
I have.
How dare you?
I've been building against it.
Well, that's only fair.
Yep.
Don't you think, if you were Wizards of the Coast in this situation, wouldn't you be more concerned with, if you were going to put down ultimatums or rules, wouldn't you rather say, like, oh, you have to dedicate X number of square feet to our product? I mean, something that shows your... Because ultimately, I was going to say, something that shows you're carrying and pushing their product, ultimately, just having the ability for people to play that means that people could buy product elsewhere, or...
So, here's the thing. Like, basically, you got it right in the end, which is that I think fundamentally Wizards of the Coast does not care where their product is sold at. They used to have a little bit more of a breakdown between, like, keeping a parity between online sales and in-store sales, where there were, online discounters could only discount it so much, and stores that were running events were able to lock in players a lot more because they had access to exclusive cards and early releases and that sort of stuff, where, only a storefront can run a pre-release weekend event. So players who are desperate to get the new cards, you have to go to a store and participate in a pre-release weekend event to get the cards. An online discounter cannot do that. They don't have access to that.
Well, that's just getting the cards early.
Right, but I was going to say, but at the end of the day, if you have a storefront and you are providing play space for people to play Magic, that's helping Magic as an ecosystem, not your store specifically.
Yeah.
One of the things we've heard from a lot of stores that have supported Magic in their stores by having open play space is that Magic players will bend over backwards to not buy product at your store.
Yes.
Single cards, maybe, and draft events, pre-release events where they have to buy product, sure. But in general, they would prefer to just buy a box for themselves at a deep discounter online, and then just they and I don't know, 3 or 7 of their friends draft out of that box, and that's it.
This is a generalization, but we've also heard that as far as single card sales go, Magic players will go out of their way to try to scam the people selling them, or wait until somebody who's less knowledgeable is behind the binders, or...
There's definitely bad eggs.
Yeah.
But there's bad eggs in comics shops, too. We had somebody who was getting some 99-cent back issues. Somehow, on the first of their 99-cent back issues that they had on the counter, was a comic book that came out a week earlier.
So, it was 99 cents.
It was absolutely not. They had taken a comic off the racks, gone to the 99-cent back issues, accumulated a small pile of 99-cent back issues, taken one book out of the 99-cent bag, put a brand new comic in the 99-cent bag, and then brought those 99-cent bagged comics up to the counter, intending to pay 99 cents for each of them. To which I said, this one is not 99 cents. This just came out last week.
If you're going to go that far, why don't you make sure that one is tucked in the middle of the pile?
I guess they just assumed I didn't know what I was doing.
Wow.
And I did know what I was
to
doing.
To go through so many steps.
Yeah.
By the way, did you tell Kent that story? Because I forgot to.
I didn't. I should.
We need to tell everyone that story because I am certainly guilty of, you bring up a stack of back issues, I count them.
Yeah.
I don't look through them.
Nope.
Now, we have to look through them.
Yep.
That's great.
Just a cursory glance. I mean, it's very easy to tell the difference between a book that came out 15 years ago and a book that came out last week. I think.
Yeah, but
I find it easy to do.
Oftentimes, and this is just in the defense of the people who work for us that may not know, some of our shelf stock can quickly turn into 99-cent books.
Sure.
So it's a matter of months.
One of the other giveaways
15 years.
with this one was that the price tag had a 2018 date on it.
Yeah, that's definitely a...
and this was a book that came out literally 1 week ago.
Like, it was new the week they got it. Like, they turned around, it was on the...
It was not on the New This Week section.
Oh, wait, it was in Sidekicks.
No, it was on the regular...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't Mega Man, it was Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty classy. For the record, I was going to make that same segue you did, but I didn't know that we were done with the Wizards of the Coast story. So
I think so. I don't have a ton to say about Wizards of the Coast. I found the entire experience sort of frustrating because this wasn't like I'm trying to make a ton of money so much as I have people who want our store to be a place where they can participate in this game. And if we don't do it, it doesn't seem like anyone else is going to. So I'm trying to do right by fans of this property more than I am customers at Challengers. And so to have Wizards just go like, well, nothing we can do. Like, there's no other tier that we can be at. Like, I'm not trying to run 56-player pre-release tournaments, I'm trying to take care of like a dozen Transformers fans. You know?
Yes,
That's it.
I grant all that, but will you admit that it's not 100% altruism?
At the end of the day, like, I could go someplace else to play the card game. I can go out to Niles. That's fine. I don't care.
Right, but-
Or I cannot do it at all. Like, I can just do casual gaming with people that come to the store. That's all fine. This is a thing where I would probably not have even investigated it had people not contacted me saying, are we going to be able to get this at Challengers? This was more work than I would do for myself.
Okay. That was my point.
No. I don't think it was even a minor percent selfish. Like, I don't care that much. I'm okay not having every card.
Okay. Like, if this was a Grimjack card game, I don't think I would care as much either because I'm not a card gamer.
Yeah. Also, just to lay it all out for people, there's a lot of these cards are going to end up online. They always do.
Yeah.
So if I really wanted it that badly, I could pay a premium price for somebody, either a store who had a bunch extra, or a player who didn't care that much, or wanted the money, and get the card probably the day it comes out, if not earlier. So I wasn't that worried about it. But no, this was genuinely people who shop at the store who said, I want to be able to do this, and I don't know anywhere else I can. So yeah, it's all done. They're all taken care of. It took about a week, and it was, I didn't enjoy doing it. And obviously it would have been way easier if we were just a game store. Like, all the things they wanted, if we were just a straight ahead game store, we could have done it in a day. It would have taken no time at all.
Sure.
But trying to, like, do it as a comic shop is like, you guys are asking way too much of us for something that is just, 9 to 12 Transformers card gamers.
Well, speaking of jumping through hoops to get something done, it has been announced, let me rephrase that, it had been announced years ago that Diamond Comics, the main source of the comic books that we get and sell in Challengers, we're switching over to an online bill payment service, which honestly is a thing we've been hoping for forever, because them and our apartment landlord are the only people that require checks. And the idea of needing to write checks in this day and age is as absurd as our accountant always asking for our fax number.
Yeah.
It's 2019.
You don't have a fax number. Get with the times.
Says the man.
It's 2019, Don.
Says the man who
Get
will
with the
never
times.
open an email.
Get with the times.
Anyway.
I said I'd scan it and email it to you, and you said no, fax it. You lunatic.
The dumbest part about this is we have no idea if our taxes have been done. Like, I'm pretty sure they have not
I
been.
feel like they have not been,
Yeah.
because usually by this point there's a thing where it's, hey, sign this and send it back to me.
But the
Didn't get that.
last we heard was they're almost done.
Check the mail today, it wasn't in there.
Yeah. So Diamond has a bill payment, an online bill payment service, but only for accounts that have a very specific pay schedule. And by that I mean there are different terms you can get as an account. You can
Net 30, Net 14,
Net 7, COD.
Yeah, and that just means you have, like, Net 30 is you have 30 days to pay an invoice. Net 14 is you have 14 days to pay an invoice. Net 7 is you have 7 days to pay an invoice. COD is you give them money, they give you books. That's the order they go in.
And as a business owner, I much prefer COD. And we've talked about this numerous times, I prefer paying for the product first and then selling it to make the money back.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of having to sell the product to make the money to pay for the product. That seems a little counterintuitive to me. And I would never want net 30 terms for anything, because that's just we'll pay for it later or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you don't pay for groceries later. You pay for your rent the month before you live in your place or rent your store. But anyway, so we've always been COD, and it's my preferred way to do it. Whenever we set up a new account at a new distributor, we always just say, we'll prepay. And they say, oh, that's so much easier.
Yeah, here's a credit card. Just charge us when the books go out.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. Now, I do care when said distributor charges us for using a credit card because they have to pay a percentage fee, like every business on the planet. But anyway,
cost of doing business, folks.
Anyway, I digress. So Diamond's your ability to use their online bill pay is net 7. It doesn't even say like net 14 or net 30, just net 7. And we're COD. So starting in January of 2016, I've been emailing our credit analyst to say, hi, we'd like to change to net 7. And I've never gotten a reply. And a lot of that is on me for not following up more than like once or twice a year. I eventually, after doing it again recently, I then emailed someone else, forwarded my email to someone else at Diamond and said, hey, why is this person never responding? And got an email back saying, oh, they retired. So here's new people that can help you out. And the new people did immediately say, hey, here's the application, blah, 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 whatever. So I had to do a bunch of filling out and sending in things like you had to do. But it's so weird to me that for a company that cannot hold a sales rep, and when our sales reps immediately leave the company, we get an email that says, hey, this person is no longer with the company.
Right.
Yet when a credit analyst who's worked for them for forever retires, I didn't know about it.
Yeah, how long have we been sending emails to an account that no one is checking?
And also, how is that email still active?
Why?
Every other business immediately deactivates. Like I never got a
bounce back.
A bounce back, yeah, to say that this email is no longer valid.
Nope.
And so if it just goes somewhere, again, like you just said, why is no one monitoring it? And how do they not tell you? That's ridiculous.
Pretty weird.
And to this, like, we don't actually know who our current credit analyst is. And that's not that big of a deal because we don't usually need a credit analyst. But over the years, we've needed to add people to the authorized purchaser list or take people off or make changes to our credit terms and things like that. So every once in a while, it would be nice. It would be nice. Did we mention the quick turnaround of our last sales rep on last week's episode?
I can't remember. 15 days.
Yeah.
We had him for 15 days before we were notified that he no longer worked for the company.
Yeah. After he called and did a whole, hi, this is who I am, and blah, blah, blah. So we gave Diamond all the information, and we're waiting to see if we're accepted. And I'm telling you right now, and I told you this already, once we get net 7 terms, I'm still prepaying for all the books.
Sure.
I'm just doing it until we're allowed to be on the bill payment program. And when that's the case, I'll still be paying for the books before I pick them up. That's the easiest way for us to do business.
Sure.
Why does the lead in this pencil keep going down? How can I write notes if my pencil keeps losing lead? Dal, I ask you, how is that possible?
There's no possible way. Can't be done.
Goodness gracious. I try to take notes as we're doing this, or try to be on top of things.
Yeah.
But while I'm taking notes on, not my normal little notebook,
No.
a sheet of paper, because I have what at least one person is waiting for. One person, and I'm glad that we've heard several people are playing Contest of Challengers Bingo.
Yes.
I think it's going to be...
I think we already have at least one winner.
Yeah? I think I'm going to keep putting the link in the descriptions.
Okay.
Moving on, just because it's fun for people.
Yeah,
hopefully.
so real quick, we never really talked about like specific rules for Contest of Challengers Bingo because it genuinely started as a joke that grew into, all right, let's see if we can make something fun out of this. So basically treat this as like an FAQ section for the Contest of Challengers Bingo. It is a new card for each
episode.
Each episode. You can reuse a card, but you can only get bingo off of a single episode.
Yeah.
We don't care if you do multiple cards. Like, there's people who do a new card for every episode. There's people who are reusing a card for multiple episodes. Either one of those is fine. It doesn't matter. But each episode starts from scratch.
If you want to print out 2 cards for an episode, fine.
It's fine.
It's like the older people at a bingo call who have like 20 cards spread out in front of them.
Yeah.
That's fine. But it doesn't. It doesn't carry over to the next game. It's one game only.
Also, when it comes to filling out a square, a cursory mention is as good as an entire topic.
Unless it's specific.
How do you
For
mean?
example, if the square says Claremont Byrne X-Men, and we're talking about Hickman's X-Men, doesn't count.
Sure, but I don't think we have anything that specific.
Not remotely like that.
Yeah, basically what I mean is if the square says Transformers and I talk about the Transformers trading card game, that's fine. If it's just Patrick making a joke about me liking Transformers, that's fine too. Like either one of those is acceptable for clearing a square.
And in my head, I've been thinking of the gimmies we've already had for this episode. And here's another one, because I am about to read a statement. What is it called?
Prepared statement.
A prepared statement from someone else. Now, we were just talking about Diamond's changes or possible changes to the way we pay for books, but there is a new change for how we pick up the books. And this is not a Diamond thing whatsoever. This is apparently a TSA, FAA, OSHA thing. So here it is.
So this is from the warehouse where you pick up at?
Yes, this is from Giadis, which used to be Giadis Wilson's, which used to be Wilson's, which is the warehouse I go to in Elk Grove Village to get the books. Attention, Diamond Comics pickups. Should be a hyphen in pickups, don't you think?
Pick Youps.
I would do a hyphen right there. As of April 8th, 2019, a new protocol is in place. Protocol's a fancy word for this.
Protocol.
Yeah, wow. Also, I don't feel bad for reading this out at all because A, they had a stack of these, and B, I'm sure no one from Giadis listens to this, and C,
What if they did?
This isn't like an industry secret we're giving away. As I just said at the start of this, it's a mandated TSA, FAA, OSHA change. Although I don't know how the FAA is involved in this, but whatever.
I assume there's a lot of things that they have for airports and stuff.
Sure. Going forward, when you arrive to pick up, we will sign you in. These are all periods, but they're not capitalizing. Sorry, I'll start again because it's trying to throw me off from the... it's making me change the way I read it, but they're obviously not...
Cadence is all over the place.
As of April 8th, 2019, a new protocol is in place. Going forward, when you arrive to pick up, we will sign you in and retrieve your books for you. We will stage them in front of door 11. For final count... Come on, look. So... That one's a comma, but that should be capitalized. This one is a period and a capitalization, but it's for final count and verification. It's not a sentence. Sorry. We will sign you in and retrieve your books for you. We will stage them in front of door 11, which is the door I usually pull in front of anyway, the one with the ramp, for final count and verification. You will then sign for your books and load them onto your vehicle. Not into, onto. You have to be on the top. Please verify all boxes handed to you are indeed yours. They're not handed, they're just dropped in a pile. Please make sure you surrender your check when picking up if checks is required. Please make absolutely sure you sign the manifest to show you have picked up for said week before you leave. If you have any questions concerning this notice, please do not hesitate to contact Warehouse Operations Manager, blah, blah, blah. This is mandated by TSA, FAA, OSHA for all pickups in our bonded facility. Thanks for your understanding. Now, obviously, this is an important thing. This is a government-sponsored thing. And over the years, I mean, we've been picking up from Wilson's for a very, very long time. And as you get to know warehouse staff, there's a level of familiarity that is gained and a level of trust. And certainly, after doing this for so long, you know what you're doing. And by that, I mean you and I. We know the routine. They know the routine. Under previous employees, we had access to anywhere in the facility. We didn't need anywhere else, but we knew we would go to our books. We would
Grab a cart.
Yeah, handle all of the manifests and all that kind of stuff. Little by little, they've been adding to the procedure, and it's usually mandated by somebody new who's working there or somebody who left, and then it's like tighter security for like 2 weeks and it goes away. Well, The more recent changes were, okay, you need to write your driver's license number on the sign-up sheet. Actually, the sign-up sheet is a new thing. You used to sign in outside, now you sign in inside the cage.
Yeah.
Then it was your driver's license number. Then it was, no, you give me the driver's license, I'll do it. Then it was, you're writing down the check number on the form. It was also, we have to match the serial number of each box to what the manifest says. All those kind of things, which slows it down. The worst part about picking up at Wilson's the last couple years is there's no urgency on their part because they're dealing with trucks and shippers from everywhere, whether it be 18-wheelers or FedEx or UPS or whomever. And when people come in, they have to wait until a Wilson's employee comes to service them. And it's been really slowing it down the last couple of months. It used to be like you'd stand at the cage, they'd see you and wave you in or unlock the door from a distance because it's a magnet lock door.
Right.
Now there are some weeks where I'm standing there for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I know I've been seen.
They're
It's
just not
until,
in a hurry.
Yeah, until someone gets around to it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little bit more of a hurry this time because what they have to do is, since all of the deliveries are on pallets and they have to bring them to warehouse door number 11, you have to get a forklift driver.
Yeah.
And as they've said in the past, they don't want this stuff in their building any longer than they have to. So they have to get somebody to, I wonder what they're going to do in the winter because they have to open the bay door.
Yeah.
But what they'll do is they'll bring the pallet up to the door and then lower it down. And bigger accounts that have bigger vehicles can get them to open the door and they back in and then they will forklift the pallet into the van or whatever.
Right.
We don't have that much stuff.
No.
And I don't have room in my vehicle for the actual wooden pallet.
No.
So it has to be transferred from the pallet to the car. And this week, which is the first week of this new system, they helped load the car.
That's pretty cool.
It wasn't so much as loading the car as they would pick up a box and hand it to me. I'd put it in the car.
Sure.
And then I'd pick up a box and they'd pick up a box and hand it to me, that kind of thing.
Still helping.
A couple of months ago, earlier, or at the end of last year, there was one cart all of us comic retailers had been using for years. And it was a heavy-duty cart that you could easily fit your week's shipment on, 3 rows of boxes. You could go, 4 or 5 boxes high, whatever. Mm-hmm. And that is the one that everybody would use. Now, in the beginning of Challengers, we bought a cart that I was taking to the warehouse. And it's a fine cart. It's not made for, 5 comic boxes.
Sure.
Which is what it can handle at one time height-wise, but it's too heavy and would bend.
Yeah.
And then my brother George bought us a portable one that's in my car at all times. Again, great in a pinch for a couple of boxes, not for your weekly load of books.
Right.
But there was this one cart at the warehouse everybody used to use. And even when the tires go flat, people still use it because it was easier. And you got used to it, you came to expect it. And then recently, at the end of last year, it was gone. And at first we thought someone took it away to fix it because it had years worth of wear and tear.
Sure.
But it turns out that it was UPS or somebody's all along that had left it there. And then there was a supervisor who happened to be on that route with the driver, and they recognized it as one of their carts, so they took it back.
Crazy.
So after years, that cart went away. So we went out and bought our own, which has been quite handy.
Yeah.
It's a little awkward to get in and out of the back seat of my car, and it can't fit anywhere else, and it's the exact length of the back seat, so it can't, it's touching the doors. Mm-hmm. It is impossible to lift it up and put it in the car without the wheels somehow getting on you, which, since I've been using it only in coat weather, has been okay.
Yeah.
But as the weather hopefully gets better, I'm going to come back with tire prints on my vest,
Probably.
kind of thing. But now it looks like I'm not going to have to bring it.
Yeah.
I'll still use it. I'll still unload onto it and use that to bring everything into the store.
But that's all.
Since we haven't. But that'll make less tire prints on the vest.
Yeah.
Only, I'm afraid that the week I stop bringing it is the week that
There's no cart.
they'll not do this anymore. So I don't know. Ultimately, this added security measure is beneficial to us,
Yeah.
but not in a way that really matters.
No.
I have no problem going with my cart, loading up my cart, and dragging my stuff down to my car. In fact, when there's weeks when I don't get the ramp to the door and I had my cart, I didn't care. Load up the cart, drag it down, you're done.
It's not the end of the world.
But it's when it was their cart, you'd have to go back and return it. It was more annoying, and
Sure.
their cart holds more than ours. Whatever, fine. That's just, I don't know. It seems like they keep increasing security, and I don't know. Initially, when they would change things, it was always blamed on the retailers, on the comics people.
And I can see how that would happen.
Because there's so many comics people coming in a short period of time. And
Yeah.
then there was...
You can tell some of it when it's the, like, we have to check all your boxes. It's like, oh, people were taking the wrong boxes, and then, like,
Yeah.
retailers were calling Diamond and complaining, and Diamond was calling the warehouse to say, why are people taking the wrong boxes? So then there had to be procedures in place to make sure that people only took their boxes, and the warehouse verified that.
And then there was a time where they added a security measure, and they outright said, it's because one of their guys got hurt.
Sure.
But then they had to make the change. Anyway, that is the prepared statement
Good work.
of the episode.
Good work.
And when we were talking to the person who needed a prepared statement for their bingo card, it made me realize, oh wait, no, I actually do have one.
You do.
I do.
Yeah.
I do have one.
Hopefully this helps.
Indeed. Due to a scheduling change, and due to the fact that Sarah Shockey is going to be in Belgium, Champions Day at Challengers, hosted by Marty and Sarah, has been postponed from Easter Sunday all the way down to the end of September. It'll be September 28th, the Saturday of an AAW show, the Jim Lyman Memorial Show. Obviously, more details on that as it comes up, but for those of you who are interested in coming in on Easter Sunday for Champions Day, that is no longer the day. So now, a thing is actually happening next week that happened once before in the comics industry, and it was a thing that you and I had surmised, could you do this in the comics industry? And then Skybound did it with Die, 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 and now Boom Studios is doing it with Tooth Fairy #0.
Yes, Angel from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer comic series, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, is getting a comic book. Angel, I guess, I'm a little behind on the Buffy comic. Angel will be appearing in issue 4 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes,
that releases
Angel has not been in this series yet.
on April 17th. That same day, Boom is releasing to stores Angel #0. And to keep everything hush-hush, no pun intended for Buffy.
I get it.
Get it?
The gentleman's.
Angel Zero was not solicited to stores. It was announced as a thing that stores will be receiving, I think, in quantities equal to Buffy #3, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly what their metric was, but I want to say it was like, we were told around Buffy #3, like, there's going to be a thing we're doing with Buffy #4, so make sure your numbers are where they should be, because how we're doing the special thing is tied to either your FOC numbers for 3 or 4. I can't remember which one. But what we found out now is that it's Angel #0, and that is the first issue of a new Angel ongoing series, where future issues will also be coming out on a monthly basis, and we did not order those either. So, like, the first 0 through 3, I think, are going to be, like, non-solicited comic books. I think we might be able to switch our numbers around in FOC coming up.
See, that's the catch, is FOC. Because if I recall correctly, Die, Die, Die wasn't on FOC.
I think eventually it was, but I think we might have missed it one time. I don't know for sure if it was, or if we missed it, or if it just wasn't there. I don't remember.
Well, we talked about that specifically because we managed to miss ordering several issues of Die, and it turns out we were not the only retailers that missed it.
No, very easy to miss when it's outside of the regular solicitation cycle.
Yeah, so it looks to me like a lot of the issues we had, and look, the idea of a stealth launch is a thing we were for, and we were excited for.
Yeah, as an experiment, absolutely.
Yeah, but it didn't work well with Die.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Boom has in its favor for Angel is that they're doing it slightly differently. The Die release was people were unpacking their boxes, and it was, what is this thing?
Yeah, on the invoice it was image thank you.
Yeah. And then the announcement came, and all of the publicity that Skybound was doing, where they were having Robert Kirkman and Chris Burnham talking about kind of what the book was about and why they're doing it this way and all that sort of stuff. So it was meant to be people would walk into the stores on that Wednesday, see a brand new Robert Kirkman comic book with art by Chris Burnham, and be like, what is this? This is super exciting. Instead, what kind of happened was people had no forewarning of it. So stores weren't able to promote it. People weren't able to subscribe to it. The usual, promotional cycle element was completely gone. So people would walk to the shelves, not know what something was, not have any idea what this comic book was, and maybe pick it up, maybe not pick it up. There was some speculator interest for sure, but the interest died off real rapidly. I think the positive that Angel Zero has going for it is, first of all, Boom told everybody a week before it happened.
Yes.
Which should hopefully give fans plenty of time to know what's happening, or stores to decide how they're going to be selling Angel number 0. Like, for us, everybody who gets Buffy is going to get Angel 0. Like, we assume that people who are reading Buffy will want to read Angel, so we're going to toss that in there for their subscriptions. And people can add or drop that at any time going forward, but to make sure that the Buffy fans are covered, that's what we're going to do. But other stores could do things in other ways, and they have a week to decide how they want to do that. Similarly, fans have a week to contact their stores and go, oh my god, I'm super excited about this Angel comic, please make sure I get it. And stores will know what this is and be able to take care of that. The other thing is that obviously Angel has the advantage on Die in that Angel and Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a known quantity. Like, people know what the Buffy the Vampire Slayer comic is, and they know who Angel is. So promoting it is as simple as saying there's a new Angel comic coming out and you can buy it. Die is a brand new property that you have to explain, like, what is the genre? What is the what's it about? Why would I like it? Who's it for? All that stuff you have to communicate in without the traditional promotional cycle, which is how you usually communicate that to a prospective customer. Angel is easy to do that with because I know who it's for. I know who the audience is. It's
and
easy.
you know who the character is.
Yeah, it's easy to figure out how to sell this book.
Even before they had announced the Angel comic, in the solicitation for Buffy number 4, it was saying how it was the Boom debut of a fan favorite Buffy character. Mm-hmm. And as a reader, I thought, oh, that's got to be Angel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could have been somebody else, but anybody else would have been a lesser character.
Sure.
Let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. For our new releases,
mm-hmm.
we rack everything new for the single comics alphabetically.
Yep.
Would it benefit to put Angel and Buffy next to each other? Or do you think doing that would make people think that the Angel book was actually a variant cover to Buffy?
Probably the latter. Buffy, I think we're getting at least 3 covers on.
Yeah.
And I think it could very easily blend in, despite having a completely different logo. So, yeah.
Hopefully they're close enough, like a few shelves away.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I say obviously, but it's obvious to me, maybe it's not obvious to you. I would make sure that anyone who's getting Buffy that week
gets
off the shelf.
Yeah.
We would say, by the way, I don't know if you saw, there's an Angel number 0 that came out. It continues on from this issue of Buffy. You may want to check it out. I don't know if it'll be the pick of the week or if we'll just have it near the counter, but yeah, I mean, that would be the hope, is that anyone casually buying Buffy, we would try and make sure they got Angel as well.
And lucky Boom gave us a little bit of a heads up, not us personally, but the industry.
Yeah.
So it's not a situation where we're saying, oh, we would have ordered more of Angel Zero than we did of this issue of Buffy. But we're still at a point where we were ordering a little bit higher because of their guaranteed returns program.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's hard to tell how this is going to do, and it's hard to tell if it's overall an advantage to do it this way versus the usual solicitation and promotional cycle. I don't know if it's better to do it this way. Only Boom will know that for sure. But I think they're correcting a lot of the things that Skybound and Image maybe experimented on that didn't work for Die. Like, I'm not as frustrated by the choices that Boom's making on this as I ended up being frustrated by the way that Skybound did it. So hopefully, they're learning lessons. They're creating something that's more advantageous than it is disadvantageous. But again, we won't know as a store until, a few days to a few months after Angel Zero comes out to see how people are responding to it and how they're picking up issues or not. And we'll never know how Boom does with it. Hopefully well.
Historically, Angel always sells slightly under Buffy numbers for us.
Yes.
And by slightly under, it's like 1 or 2 issues, really. Like copies is what I mean.
Yeah, well, I mean, what we're seeing for all the Whedonverse stuff, or just all the Whedon stuff that Boom is publishing, is that they're all pretty much selling to the exact same fans. Like Firefly for us is pretty much selling almost exactly what Buffy is nowadays. Like, it took a while for those numbers to sync up. One going up, one going down. But they're kind of meeting at a point where it's the same number now.
Yeah. But I think this has it's a fun way to create a buzz and to get people interested in it. And
I hope so.
I think that...
I'll be honest, we have not heard anything from customers yet. No one's responded to us saying, make sure I get that. I haven't, anyway.
Yeah.
We'll be sending out our email. We just sent it out to subscribers, or to our whole mailing list we sent today, and then subscribers will get their email tomorrow. And we'll see at that point if people are saying, hey, put me down for this. One of the things that I really dislike about stealth launches, and I don't know how universal this is for the comics industry, but Comic Suite kind of doesn't know what to do with a book that you don't order on the traditional solicitation cycle.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of problems with Die where, because we never initial ordered any of them, when it came time to pull for subscriptions, Comics would be like, well, you didn't order that. No one's down for it. Cool, we have like 12 people down for Die. Yeah, but you didn't order that issue of Die. Yeah, but it's on this invoice. It's coming in next week. Yeah, but you didn't order it. So we would have to jump through a bunch of hoops to make sure people were getting Die. And like Patrick said, we missed an entire issue because the way that Comic Suite would make sure we ordered something, since it wasn't ordered on the initial order form, when it came time to do FOCs, it was a 0 in there, and there was no number next to it saying, oh, you need this many for subscribers, because, again, it doesn't know what to do with it if you don't order it on the initial order form. So, already, I can't add Angel as a title for people.
Yeah, we've had somebody say, hey, make sure I get this. Like, well,
so
you're getting it, but...
And additionally, because of the way it's coming in, I haven't been able to yet. And I'll try and figure something out, but I don't think I'll be able to in the next 18 hours. I can't add it to people's individual pulls yet. Like, I won't be able to do it probably until we actually receive it on Tuesday. So there's going to be nothing on the subscriber emails that go out on Friday that say either A, you're down for Angel as a series, or B, you're down for Angel issue 0. So I assume a bunch of people who get Buffy are going to respond, I want Angel, and it's like, you're already getting it, but I can't communicate that to you.
Dropping a paragraph in that says, FYI, if you get Buffy, you're also getting Angel 0?
No, for a couple of reasons. One is that I don't know where you'd put it to make sure people read it. Like, I would want to put it after the Buffy listing of someone's actual pulls.
Don't ask for Marvel Legends figures here. Call the store.
Yeah, that's the second thing, is that I don't have a ton of confidence that if I put a special note in there that people would actually read it. One of the things that thankfully doesn't happen a lot anymore, but used to happen with frustrating regularity, is that we would send out an email on Friday. For example, like if we were sending it out this week, we'd be sending it out on April 12th, and it would say on the subject line, subscriptions and special orders for April 17th, 2019 at Challengers. And then the first line of the email would be, this listing is for books that are coming in on April 17th. We would get people regularly coming in on like April 13th or 14th looking for their subscriptions, and we'd go, nothing came in for you. And they go, but I got this email. It says all the stuff came in. And we have to go, no, that's for the stuff that's coming in this Wednesday. And it says it multiple places, but people somehow just their eyes glaze over that part. They just don't read that part of it.
Dal.
Patrick.
You don't work Fridays. That still happens.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's disappointing.
In fact, this most recent Friday.
Oh, golly.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else I can do. It's in the subject line, and it is the first line of the email. And then there's a middle section after the list of books that are coming in where it says, this is the stuff that's coming in next week. If you want to add anything, let us know. So there's a few places where it outright says what date this stuff is coming in, and there's a few places contextually where it indicates that these are books that have not arrived yet, but will be coming in the following Wednesday.
I wanted to say, how bad do you think we are at our jobs if Wednesday's new books, you're only finding out about it on Friday, but that's assuming people understand books come out on Wednesday, and they don't have to know that.
I don't know. It's still frustrating.
It's almost comical at this point, because when you say, you don't have anything, and they say, when they look puzzled, I'll say, are you thinking about an email you got this morning?
Uh-huh.
And then it can go directly from there.
Cool.
Yeah, but, I mean...
At least they're reading the emails.
Sure. So, somebody came in this week, and short of people being in the store saying, oh, you expanded? To Sidekicks, which means you haven't been in the store since late
years.
2010.
In 7 years.
2010 is when that whole
It was when the gallery went up, that's true.
Yeah, so over, 8+ years.
Yeah.
So short of that, when people come in, and there was a guy that came in and he was mainly talking to you, and he comes in, he's like, hey, I haven't seen you for a while. Meaning he hasn't been in for a while.
Right.
And then he just proceeded to ask general questions. But the thing that got me, and I don't know what it was this week, but I commend you on how nice you were to everyone, even people I knew that were just pissing you off.
I was dying inside a lot this week.
But you kept it together so well.
It was, thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
It was, I noticed it. Because I was not.
There were a bunch of points, Sunday through Wednesday, where I was going to completely lose it. Like, there was going to be a write-up in the Tribune about something that happened at a comic shop that day. Like, it was going to be that bad, where I was just going to go nuts. Because it was just this, like, death by degrees of... Like, there was a guy who was in Tuesday, and it was questions on everything. And it were things where, like, you could figure this out, but you're making it my problem. Like, I told you at one point, like, sarcastically, like, oh, I didn't realize we started our personal shopper program. Where I couldn't believe the number. Like, obviously we want to help people through stuff. And if people have questions, you need something explained to you, I want to be there for you. But there's a point where it's like, you are asking me too many questions. Like, this doesn't have to be a thing where, in your head, if you don't know something, it immediately has to come out of your mouth. Like, there can be a point where you're like, maybe I can figure this out. And this one guy, it was just question after question after question after question. And it wasn't even like, tell me about this book. It was just, what's the price on this? Okay, it's in the barcode. Okay, what's the price on this? Okay, do you have this in yet? Do you have this in yet? Do you have this in yet? And it's just like, oh my God. Oh God. So that was fun. And there were a lot of little things like that where it's like, these interactions are less fun. Some weeks they're very fun, Yeah. I enjoy what I do, and there's days that are just, man, like the best people come in, and we had a bunch of fun people in on Wednesday who were in for Star Wars Celebration, who were excited to be in the store.
You were great with them too, because every time you knew it right away. And there was a guy who was wearing Yoda gloves that I outright said, I thought those were Hulk gloves.
Uh-huh.
And you would say, so you're in town for Star Wars Celebration? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, oh, it was just a thought that came to my head. It had nothing to do with what you're wearing or how you look.
My own intuition, not anything that you gave away.
Yeah, but they were usually wearing some deep Star Wars dive outfit or whatever.
I mean, it was not cosplay, but it was just this side of cosplay.
Fandom, strong fandom.
It's like
visible fandom.
People who go to Disney World will frequently wear like Disney t-shirts or like Mickey Mouse ears and stuff. Like, they're not dressed up like Mickey Mouse or like Buzz Lightyear, but they'll wear enough stuff where you're like, if you see them at like an Orlando gas station, like, you're going to Disney World. You are clearly, that is the next stop. So being able to see people wearing patches where it's like you can tell different insignias, There's a font that's used for Star Wars stuff where it's like the fakey Star Wars language. And if you see that, it's like, well, you're clearly like a deep cut Star Wars fan. That you're into it. So you're able to sort of piece that stuff together. And it was Star Wars Celebration is Thursday through Monday. So Wednesday is very much we just got to Chicago. We've got a day to sort of hang out.
But I was saying to you, I think it's amazing that these people who are in town to be at McCormick Place find us, who are so far away
For sure.
from McCormick Place and not easy to get to unless, even if you're driving, it's just traffic.
Yeah, and this wasn't, like, even if you thought, oh, it's people coming from the airport, like, no one had suitcases with them.
No, they were all definitely making their days and
Which is cool.
enjoying the city. Yeah, it's amazing, and it really showed the counterpoint of a lot of the things we dealt with. My annoyance for Wednesday was somebody who came in and said, yeah, I tried to come in Saturday, but I guess it closed early. And I worked Saturday, and I did not close early. Well, and I said, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, they said, like, yeah, I was here at 5, but I guess you guys closed early. Like, they specifically said what time they came in, which was like, we always close at 5.
No, he didn't say that he was there at 5. He said, I came by Saturday night, but I guess you closed early. And I said, no, we didn't. We closed at 5. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, oh, that's early? You close early? And I said, no, we've always closed at 5 since we've been open for 11 years.
Yeah.
It's when you tell me I'm not doing my job that I get snotty.
Sure.
I mean, one of the times I get snotty.
Sure.
But yeah, that was definitely how dare you, sir?
Uh-huh.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I may not open at 11 on the dot. It may be 11:02. And I always blame it on Duncan because it's always Duncan's fault, but it's also my fault that I stop at Duncan on the way in on Saturdays.
But we don't close early.
We don't close early.
No. I will start closing down early some nights if there's no one in the store.
Sure.
And I want to get out of there at 7 or 5. But, yeah.
Yeah. You don't tell me I wasn't there when I was there.
Yeah.
What are you, UPS?
How dare you? Yeah, it was a weird week of ups and downs, but I mean, I guess technically it's every week, but this week there were times where, I don't know, like I felt like my nerves were more raw, where it was bugging me more than it should.
But the fact that I see those raw, exposed nerves, and you're still so nice to people.
I try to. I don't want to take it out on folks. I don't.
I want people to know when they're bothering me.
I mean, there was one guy that I tried to be very diplomatic with. So a guy had come in, and it wasn't a day I worked, so I don't know how this started, but in the special order book, they were down for self-made issues 1, 3, and 4. So we got in 3 and 4. We called them. And they came in, and they said what their name was, and that we had comics waiting for them, and they were self-made issue 3. I said, well, we actually had 3 and 4 for you. And they said, oh, I ended up picking up 4 at a different store. And I said, all right. And I took the comic and was putting it away, and they said...
And you put it near me, and it almost violently went into the garbage.
It almost did. That's your go-to, and I don't blame you for it. This is a book that we don't even carry for the shelf anymore, so we ordered it specifically for them that now we have to eat, basically. And they realized very quickly that the temperature had changed slightly in the room. So they had said that was that a bad thing that they did? And I can't remember how I phrased it, but I tried to not be like, yes, you really screwed us. But it was more like, it's something like, we would have appreciated if you hadn't done that. Like, and they apologized, and I said, thank you for apologizing. And I moved on. Like, I tried to not make it there is heat between us now, even though this is somebody who years ago I basically had to kick out of the store because they were reading entire graphic novels.
Yeah.
And the passive-aggressive, anything I can help you find, we like people browsing, we don't like people reading, was lost on them. And they just kept going to the point where I had to go, okay, you're done. You've been here too long. You're just reading every volume of Avatar. This is not working for me.
And that is a person that I remember because of that. And every time they walk in, I think something's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Because they always have a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
They, at best, buy a single issue of a comic, if they buy anything at all.
Yeah.
And the amount of time they take from you is disproportionate to what they spend.
Correct.
But specifically for the self-mades, because it was a day I was there, there's a difference of us saying, hey, if you want, we'll take your name and number, we'll see if we can get that for you, versus us saying, hold on, yes, our distributor still has that. We can order this for you. They'll be here Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing if we say, we'll try. It's another thing when we say, you're getting this.
Yeah. Somewhere in the intervening 10 days, they decided to just buy it someplace else, even though we'd ordered it for them. So that was not helpful.
But you, dear listener, you're smarter than that.
Thanks.
You don't cause us problems.
Thank you for that.
You're the good ones. You know what you're doing. You know what you want. You buy Little Bird because we talk about it so much. You buy Invisible Kingdom because we talk about it.
Hopefully you enjoyed them too. I hope.
Yeah,
I hope
exactly.
You liked them.
I mean, that's the whole reason. Thank you for listening.
And keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.
Oh, wait, I had one more thing. Shit, I forgot.
Okay.
Do you know Jason Starr?
I don't think so.
Jason Starr, Dal, how do you not know? Jason Starr is a major writer in the comics industry. They've written Batman. They've written Spider-Man. They've written X-Men. They've written Punisher.
Okay.
And now, they're teaming up.
Are you yelling at me?
They're teaming up with two other co-writers to write what will be the best-selling comic of all time. All they need is an artist.
I'm not offering to draw.
So if you want to submit your art to, I think it's darkcountry@gmail.com, they'll go through all those submissions and they'll find the person that will draw their book. And when they say draw, they mean pencils, they mean inks, colors, letters, graphics, all those things.
All those things. Even the graphics.
You need it. They're going to stop taking submissions on May 1st, and by May 15th, they'll announce who gets the job. And don't worry, this is a paid gig.
Okay.
That's right. You
Me?
could be the one
I don't want to.
who draws the best-selling comic written by Jason Starr and Rusev and Lana.
No, thank you.
I sat through a 4-minute video of them trying to talk about this while holding their dog who is in a Spider-Man costume, and Lana is wearing a Spider-Man shirt to prove she's a fan.
What kind of book is this? Like, what's it about?
I told you, it's called Dark Country.
Oh, it's called Dark Country?
Yes.
I mean, the email address was darkcountry@gmail.com, but
Yes,
I thought that was just Jason Starr's email address.
It's called Dark Country.
Okay.
And if you're good enough artist, you can draw Rusev's quads
No,
because they're
thanks.
massive.
No, thanks.
It's not one of those promotional things like where you know they're not crowdsourcing their a contest for a logo or something. They're gonna pay whoever they pick. You're not wasting your time.
Sounds like you're wasting a
And
little bit of your
Rusev
time.
said it's going to be the best-selling comic book of all time.
Okay.
And they know that they're fans because Lana was wearing a Spider-Man shirt.
True.
And not only that, they use their real names.
Their names aren't Rusev and Lana?
Yaroslav something something and C.J. Perry. I'm sure Jason Starr, though, is his real name.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure everybody had a chance to do that.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't let that go unheard. That was worth it, right?
Couldn't.